Okay, so now I am doing March 7th's quiet time. But yeah, on March 7th, I read in Zephaniah chapter 3, and there were only about four things that stuck out to me. The first one was verse 12, which says, I will leave a meek and humble people among you, and they will take refuge in the name of the Lord. So what I wrote down is that the people left after God's judgment will take refuge in Him. Um, and then the next verse that stuck out to me was the second half of verse 15, which says, The King of Israel, the Lord is among you. You need no longer to fear harm. So, what I wrote down is that when God is with us, we have nothing to fear. And then the next verse that stuck out to me was verse 17, which says, The Lord your God is among you, a warrior who saves. So, oh wait, and then it goes on. It says, He will rejoice over you with gladness, He will be quiet in His love, and He will delight in you with singing. So what I wrote down is that the Lord is our warrior. He fights on our behalf. Okay, so March 7th was day 66, and the title was Alone Time, and the key verse was Psalm 62:1, which says, My soul finds rest in God alone, my salvation comes from Him. So what I got out of that verse was that in Him alone will we find peace, and God alone saves us. And then in the lesson, it talks about how there's nothing more enriching, healing, and replenishing than learning to rest in God alone. So what stuck out to me is that it's the best feeling of comfort. And then also in the lesson, it talks about how we go to God first. We're aligning with the only one who knows our purpose, plans, and pathways. And so I wrote down that God knows everything, so we should be going to Him first. Um, and then the last thing in the lesson talks about is that when our heart is aligned with His, He can lead us into the incredible things. So what I wrote down is that wait, it's always amazing to see what work He does through us. But yeah,